You're sitting by the phone, waiting for a text that feels like an afterthought. You realize you've become a convenience, a backup plan for when his first choice falls through. It's a hollow, crushing feeling. Most people ignore the subtle social signals that cause this. 99% miss the last part, and if you do, you'll stay stuck in the option zone forever. If you stop now, you're choosing to be invisible. Status signals. Have you ever walked into a room and felt your entire nervous system shift before you even said hello? In our lab, we call this thin slicing. Within the first 7 seconds of meeting someone, your brain is processing thousands of data points to decide if that person is a luxury or an option. It's scanning for micro expressions, vocal pitch, and most importantly, your level of internal status. When we talk about being a luxury, we are talking about a high-level recognition of social cues that tell a man, this person is high value, rare, and requires my best effort. The first psychological key is what I call the power of presence. Most people think status comes from what you wear or what you do, but it actually comes from how you occupy space. In our research, we found that high-value individuals use expansive body language. They don't shrink, they expand. They keep their shoulders back, their chin level, and their hands visible. This signals to a man's primitive brain that you are not a threat, nor are you threatened. You are secure in your own skin. When you take up space, you are signaling that your presence is a premium. We also look at the frontal heart fold. This is a body language cue where you keep your torso oriented toward the person you're speaking with, but you don't lean in too early. Leaning in is a signal of high interest, but if you do it too soon, it can look like you're chasing validation. A luxury doesn't chase, it is sought after. By maintaining a straight, poised spine and only leaning in when he says something truly fascinating, you are rewarding his behavior with your attention. This creates a psychological dopamine hit for him, making him want to work harder to earn that lean in again. Status is also about vocal authority. Have you ever noticed upspeak, where every sentence sounds like a question? My name is Sarah. I live in New York. This signals a massive lack of confidence. It tells a man that you are seeking his approval. To be seen as a luxury, you must use the low resonance voice. This is the voice of authority and calm. When you speak from your diaphragm and end your sentences on a downward note, you are signaling that you are the captain of your own ship. You aren't asking for a place in his life. You are offering him a chance to be in yours. Finally, status is about social intelligence. In our lab, we've analyzed thousands of hours of footage of high-status women. They all have one thing in common. They are socially curious but emotionally independent. They ask deep, engaging questions, but they don't rely on the other person's answers to feel good about themselves. They have a high PQ, presence quotient. When you are fully present, you are telling him that your time is the most valuable thing you have to give. And when something is valuable and limited, it becomes a luxury. Value scarcity. The second key to being seen as a luxury is the law of scarcity. In economics, the more abundant something is, the lower its value. The same is true in the people science of dating. If you are always available, always texting back within 30 seconds, and always willing to drop your plans for him, you are signaling that your time has a low opportunity cost. You are essentially telling him, I have nothing better to do than wait for you. This immediately moves you from the luxury category into the option category. Now, I'm not talking about playing games or waiting 3 days to text back. That's low-level manipulation, and high-value men can see right through it. I'm talking about having a life that is so full, so vibrant, and so purposeful that you actually aren't always available. When you have intrinsic drive, goals, hobbies, and a community that you love, your time becomes naturally scarce. When a man asks for your time, he has to bid for it against your other priorities. This is what makes him see you as a luxury. He realizes that to get to you, he has to be better than your best day alone. In our research, we've found that selective availability creates a powerful psychological effect called anticipatory dopamine. When he doesn't know exactly when he'll see you next, his brain starts to obsess over the reward of your presence. He begins to plan, to think, and to invest. The more he invests in the hunt for your time, the more value he assigns to you. This is why the last-minute date is the enemy of luxury. If you accept a date for tonight at 6 p.m. on a Friday, you are telling him your Friday night was empty. You are signaling low demand. Luxury is also about the power of no. Most people are afraid to say no because they fear rejection. But no is the ultimate high status word. It sets a boundary. It says, I have standards for how my time is used. When you say, I'd love to see you, but I'm already committed tonight, you are signaling that you are a woman of your word. You don't break commitments to yourself or others just because a man called. This builds predictable reliability, which is a core component of trust. He realizes that if you respect your own time, you will eventually respect his. Think about a luxury brand like a high-end watch. You can't just walk in and buy the most exclusive model. Often there is a waiting list. That waiting list isn't a game, it's a reflection of the craftsmanship and the demand. You are the craftsperson of your own life. When you show him that your life is a masterpiece in progress, he doesn't feel rejected by your unavailability. He feels challenged by it. He wants to be the one who finally makes it onto your calendar. He wants to be the limited edition partner in your high-value world. Emotional anchoring. The third key is emotional regulation. In the science of people, we call this being an anchor rather than a sail. A sail is blown about by every wind, every text, every mood, every minor conflict. An anchor stays grounded regardless of the weather. When a man sees that you are emotionally self-sufficient, he begins to see you as a luxury. Why? Because most people are emotional vampires. They look for a partner to fix their moods or provide them with constant external validation. A luxury woman provides her own validation. In our lab, we've studied micro-triggers. These are the tiny moments where someone tries to get a reaction out of you. Maybe he's a bit late, or he mentions an ex, or he's vague about his plans. An option woman will react with high anxiety. She'll double text, she'll get defensive, or she'll protest signal. A luxury woman observes. She has a high EQ, emotional quotient. She realizes that her emotional state is her own responsibility. When she doesn't overreact to his micro triggers, she signals that she is a high stability partner. This stability is incredibly attractive to high value men because their lives are often chaotic. They are looking for a sanctuary, not a storm. When you are the one person who doesn't leak emotion or demand that he manage your feelings, you become a rare commodity. You are the anchor he can tie his ship to. This creates a deep sense of psychological safety. He feels he can be himself around you because you aren't going to shatter if he isn't perfect. This safety is the foundation of a luxury connection. We also have to talk about the pratfall effect. This is a psychological phenomenon where high-status people become more attractive when they make a small mistake or show a bit of vulnerability. However, this only works if your base status is high. If you are already seen as a luxury, showing that you can laugh at yourself or admit when you're wrong makes you feel humanly rare. It shows that you don't have a fragile ego. You are so secure in your value that a small mistake doesn't diminish you. This is the ultimate flex. To be an anchor, you must practice spiritual discipline. This is the universal principle of internal peace. It means having a daily practice, meditation, movement, or reflection that keeps your internal compass pointed north. When your compass is steady, you don't need a man to tell you who you are. You already know, and there is nothing more luxurious than a woman who is unshakable. When he sees that you are the source of your own joy, he stops seeing you as someone he has to manage and starts seeing you as someone he is lucky to witness. Intellectual curiosity. The fourth key is deep talk. In a world of small talk and, hey, how was your day? Text's intellectual curiosity is a luxury. Most people stay on the surface because the surface is safe, but the surface is also where options live. To be a luxury, you must move into the deep water. In our lab, we found that high rapport couples engage in big talk. They discuss values, dreams, fears, and the why behind their actions. They are cognitively synchronized. When you ask a man questions that make him think, you are expanding his world. You aren't just another person he's dating, you are a mental catalyst. If you can ask, what was the moment you realized you wanted to change your career path? Instead of, do you like your job? You are signaling that you are interested in the essence of who he is. This creates a vocal warmth and a neural coupling where your brains start to fire in the same patterns. He begins to associate the high of intellectual discovery with you. Luxury is also about the power of perspective. A luxury woman has her own opinions, her own mental map of the world. She doesn't just agree with everything he says to be likable. In fact, agreeableness can often lead to being seen as an option because it signals a lack of internal substance. When you respectfully disagree or offer a different lens on a topic, You are showing that you are an intellectual peer. You are a partner who can challenge him to grow. This is what high-value men are actually looking for, a co-pilot, not a passenger. We've studied the curiosity gap. This is the space between what someone knows and what they want to know. A luxury woman knows how to keep the curiosity gap open. She doesn't reveal her entire life story on the first date. She shares layers. She is like a multi-dimensional puzzle. Every time he thinks he has figured her out, she reveals a new interest, a new skill, or a new depth of thought. This keeps him mentally invested. He realizes that your mind is a landscape he could explore for a lifetime and still not see it all. To cultivate this, you must be a lifelong learner. You must feed your own mind with high-quality information, books, art, philosophy, and diverse experiences. When you are full of ideas, you naturally broadcast intellectual luxury. You don't have to try to be interesting. You are interesting because you are interested in the world. When a man realizes that a conversation with you is more stimulating than a conversation with anyone else, he won't just see you as an option. He will see you as a necessity for his own mental well-being. Vocal power. The fifth key is vocal presence. Your voice is the soundtrack of your status. In our research, we found that people decide on someone's charisma level based on their voice within seconds. As we discussed earlier, avoiding upspeak is crucial, but there is a deeper layer: vocal fry and breathiness. Vocal fry, that raspy sound at the end of a sentence, can signal fatigue or a lack of authority. Breathiness can signal submissiveness or people-pleasing. To be a luxury, your voice must be clean and resonant. Think about the melodic arc. High-value communicators have a musicality to their speech. They vary their pitch to emphasize points, but they always return to a grounded bass. When you speak with vocal warmth, you are using the same frequency that mothers use with infants or leaders use with their followers. It signals safety and authority. When a man hears this warmth in your voice, his oxytocin levels, the bonding hormone, begin to rise. He feels heard and understood, even before you've said anything profound. We also look at the power of the pause. An option woman is often afraid of silence. She feels the need to fill every gap with filler words like like, or you know. This signals social anxiety. A luxury woman is a master of silence. She knows that the most powerful things are often said in the gaps. When she pauses before answering a question, she is signaling that she is thinking and that her words have weight. She isn't in a hurry to please him, she is in a rhythm of her own. Your vocal volume is also a status signal. Have you ever noticed that the loudest person in the room is often the one with the lowest status? They are shouting for attention. A luxury woman speaks at a controlled volume. She speaks just loud enough to be heard, which forces the other person to lean in to catch her words. This physical act of leaning in is a subconscious submission cue. He is literally moving into your space to hear you. By controlling your volume, you are controlling the gravity of the conversation. To master your voice, you must master your breath. In the universal principles of discipline, the breath is the bridge between the mind and the body. When you breathe deeply into your lower dantian, your voice naturally becomes deeper and more stable. You stop speaking from your throat and start speaking from your core. This core resonance is what people mean when they say someone has gravitas. When you have gravitas, you aren't an option. You are a force of nature. He doesn't just listen to your words, he feels your presence. Selective vulnerability. The sixth key is the vulnerability loop. Now, this is where many people get it wrong. They think being strong means being a robot or a fortress. But a fortress is cold and inaccessible. A luxury item, like a fine leather bag, has texture. It has grain. It has imperfections that make it real. To be a luxury, you must practice selective vulnerability. This is the ability to show your soft underbelly in a way that is safe and strategic. It's about letting him see the human behind the hustle. In our lab, we found that perfect people are actually uncanny and untrustworthy. If you never show a flaw, a man's defense mechanism stays up. He thinks, what is she hiding? But when you share a micro-vulnerability, a small fear, a past mistake, or a quirky insecurity, you are opening a vulnerability loop. You are signaling, I trust you with this small piece of me. This triggers his protective instinct and his desire to connect. It moves the relationship from performative to authentic. The key word here is selective. An option woman will overshare. She will dump her entire emotional history on the first date. This is vulnerability as a weapon, or vulnerability as a cry for help. It signals low stability. A luxury woman shares in layers. She reveals her depth only as he earns her trust. She might say, "I'm actually a bit nervous about this presentation tomorrow. I always want to do my best," rather than, "I'm a total failure and I'm terrified of losing my job." One is a human texture, the other is a structural crack. Vulnerability is also about the power of receiving. A luxury woman knows how to accept help, compliments, and gifts. Most people are chronic givers because giving is a way to stay in control. But when you refuse to receive, you are blocking the oxytocin flow. You are telling him, "I don't need you for anything." While independence is great, hyper-independence is a shield that prevents intimacy. When you allow a man to do something for you, you are giving him the gift of being needed. This makes him invest in you. Think of vulnerability as the patina on a piece of antique silver. It doesn't make the silver less valuable. It proves its history and its authenticity. When you show him that you are a whole human with a full spectrum of emotions, you aren't an option he can just replace. You are a one-of-a-kind experience. He realizes that the connection he has with you is something he can't find anywhere else because nobody else has your specific texture. You are the limited edition of your own soul. Social proof. The seventh key is the halo effect through social proof. In psychology, we tend to value things that others value. If a man sees that you are respected by your peers, loved by your friends, and in demand by your community, he subconsciously raises your value ceiling. You aren't just an individual, you are the center of a network. This signals that you have high social capital. To be a luxury, you must be a woman who has a world of her own that he wants to be a part of. In our research, we've looked at the social butterfly effect. This isn't about being the loudest person at the party, it's about social ease. When you can move through a room and make everyone feel seen, from the waiter to the CEO, you are signaling supreme status. You aren't clinging to him for social safety, you are the anchor of the room. When he sees you interacting with others with warmth and confidence, he feels a sense of pride to be with you. He realizes that you are a luxury asset in any social environment. Social proof also comes from the company you keep. If your friends are high value, disciplined, and purposeful, it signals that you have high standards for your inner circle. It tells him that to stay in your life, he has to level up to the quality of the people you already have. This creates a healthy competition for your attention. He doesn't want to be the weak link in your chain. He wants to be the diamond in your crown. By having a premium social circle, you are self-signaling that you are a luxury. We also have to talk about the ghost of demand. This isn't about making him jealous, it's about subtle reminders that you have a life. When you mention a work event, a friend's birthday, or a new project, you are signaling that you are in motion. You aren't sitting by the window waiting for his ship to come in. You are on your own voyage. This movement creates a gravity that pulls him toward you. He realizes that if he doesn't secure his place in your life, the world will keep moving without him. To build social proof, you must invest in your community. Practice the universal principle of service. When you help others, when you are a connector, and when you lead with kindness, you build a reputation that precedes you. When a man hears other people speak well of you, his internal valuation of you skyrockets. He realizes that you aren't just an option he found. You are a treasure that the world has already validated. You are the blue chip investment of the heart. Purpose drive. The eighth key is intrinsic drive. A luxury item is never aimless. A Ferrari is built for speed. A Rolex is built for precision. A luxury woman is built for purpose. Most people are reactive. They react to their jobs, their families, and their circumstances. A luxury woman is proactive. She has a North Star that guides her. Whether it's her career, her art, her family, or her spiritual growth, she is in pursuit of something greater than herself. This drive is incredibly magnetic. In our lab, we've studied the passion spark. When someone speaks about something they love, their pupils dilate, their vocal pitch becomes more dynamic, and they use more illustrative gestures. This high energy state is infectious. When a man sees you lit up by your purpose, he wants to be near that fire. He realizes that you aren't looking for him to give you a life. You are looking for him to share a life. This takes the pressure off him to be your everything and replaces it with the inspiration to be your partner. Purpose also creates internal resilience. When you have a mission, a minor setback in your dating life doesn't crush you. You have a bigger game to play. This detachment from the outcome is a supreme status signal. It tells him, I want you, but I don't need you to be whole. This lack of neediness is the hallmark of luxury. It signals that you are self-sustaining. You are the sun that provides its own light, not a moon that only reflects his. We've found that high-achieving men are specifically drawn to women with high agency. They want someone who can hold their own. When you have your own empire, no matter how small or large, you speak a language of competence that he respects. You become a strategic partner. He sees you as a luxury because you add value to his life through your own wisdom and drive. You aren't a cost to be managed. You are an asset to be cherished. To find your purpose, you must practice internal inquiry. Ask yourself, what would I do if I wasn't afraid? What is the work I was born to do? When you align your daily actions with your internal truth, you broadcast a frequency of fulfillment. You stop looking hungry for attention and start looking full of life. And in the people science of attraction, fullness is a luxury. Everyone wants a piece of a life that is already overflowing. Active mirroring. The ninth key is the art of isopraxis, or subconscious mirroring. Now, this is a behavioral science secret for building deep rapport. When we like someone, we naturally mirror their body language, their speech patterns, and their energy. By doing this consciously and subtly, you can make a man feel instantly connected to you on a biological level. You are signaling, I am like you, we are in sync. This synchrony is a luxury experience because it is so rare to feel truly seen and matched. In our research, we've looked at neural coupling. This is when the brains of two people sync up during a conversation. To trigger this, you must practice active listening. This isn't just staying quiet while he talks, it's reflecting his emotions back to him. If he's excited, you use high energy gestures. If he's contemplative, you lower your vocal volume. You are matching his internal state. This makes him feel a deep sense of comfort in your presence. He feels like you get him in a way that others don't. Mirroring is also about the power of the gaze. In our lab, we've found that prolonged eye contact triggers the release of phenylethylamine, PEA, the love chemical. A luxury woman knows how to hold a gaze with confidence and warmth. She doesn't look away when things get intense. She stays present in the eye contact. This signals high PQ and high intimacy. It tells him that you aren't afraid of the depth of the connection. You are leading him into a state of mutual presence.